My name is Dr. Sanjeev P Sahni and I work for O.P. Jindal Global University. I am a Principal Director of Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences. I have a 32 years of experience in behavioral sciences. Today's topic is teachers' effectiveness and their mental health. Needless to say, teaching is a highly complex activity that requires a great amount of effort, planning and then implementation. The nature and demands of the job make the path of becoming an effective teacher somewhat slightly challenging. Empirical evidence has documented that teachers' effectiveness greatly impacts student learning and achievement. So far, a student to learn properly, the teacher has to be effective. But what do we mean by the effective teachers? Lauren Anderson way back in 91 defined effective teacher as the one who quite consistently achieves goals that either directly or indirectly focus on the learning of their students. There are actually various definitions to the concept of effective teaching, but the fundamental component of the effective teaching are few, like first, it requires a particular set of skills. Second, it takes into account the requirement of the context in which it occurs. Teacher's effectiveness begins with his or her capacity to navigate through the ability to provide instructional strategies as well as impart their level of mastery to the students. As we know, teachers, instructors and professors are actually required to fulfill many other roles and duties as well as in their institutions. But the crucial element remains the actual skill of teaching. In the same vein as Anderson Walls in the later years of 20th century mentioned a conceptual framework titled as 4 Aces of Effective Teaching for Teachers' Effectiveness. He suggested the higher education teachers to practice self-reflection. As per him, teaching effectiveness is achieved by the interaction of the teacher's subject matter mastery and pedagogical ability. There exists a complex interaction between subject matter mastery and pedagogical ability that can be explained through 2 scenarios. In scenario 1, the teacher may have mastery over his or her subject knowledge, but may not be able to plan or execute any instructional methods to increase student learning. It is primarily due to absence of pedagogical ability. Contrary, in scenario 2, a teacher may possess some pedagogical skills, yet have limited mastery over their subject matter. This scenario also leads to ineffective teaching. So, both these scenarios point out that it is a no-win situation to be an effective teacher without being proficient in both subject matter or subject knowledge as well as pedagogical abilities. Now, coming back to the Walls concept of the 4 Aces of effective teaching. It can be regarded as a consolidated way of thinking about the practice of teaching, wherein the first point it goes that ace of effective teaching revolves around the concept of outcome based teaching orientation. Through outcomes, students are kept informed of where they are heading to and how will they reach there. This will also help teachers to keep in mind the design and delivery of their course content. Outcomes enable teachers to document the learning that happened in class and also contribute to students' ability to effectively realize the determined outcome. 2. Now coming to the second Ace, the second Ace of effective teaching requires the clarity of the instruction delivered by the teacher. It is important to typically provide students with crystal clear course content. A teacher must provide alternative perspectives to teaching to enable effective teaching for the student. There must be use of various illustrations, demonstrations to supplement, clarify verbal explanation by the teacher. An effective teacher is one who makes complex subject matter clear and easy to learn for the student. The third Ace of effective teaching is engagement. The traditional method of teaching regards teacher as the deliverer and the student as the receiver. This leads to incomplete mode of education where the student engages in only note taking. So, teachers must create a dynamic environment where it leaves the students with opportunity to engage at every step. Fourth, the final Ace of the effective teaching is enthusiasm. It has been observed that enthusiasm is highly contagious. Effective teachers display great levels of enthusiasm which reflect their sense of confidence and competence. A teacher must effectively communicate their passion for the subject matter to the students. Doing so creates a positive learning experience for the students. It is important to employ and communicate excitement about new developments to achieve student success. Apart from Anderson and Wall's work on conceptualization of effective teaching, two academicians, Young and Shaw, way back in 1999, also theorized what effective teaching should encompass. They presented 6 major dimensions of effective teaching, namely, first, value of the subject, importance of the subject. 2, effective communication. 3, motivating students. 4, a comfortable learning atmosphere. 5, organization of the subject, and the 6th is concern for student learning. In the same vein, way back in 2001, Hativa, Barak and Simi formulated what they considered as the 4 necessary elements of effective teaching, which include interest, clarity, organization and a positive climate change. It is essential for effective teachers to possess these elements of teaching to fully capture the appropriate teaching skills and practices. Also, the most effective teachers are the ones who know the needs of their students and make efforts to increase and reinforce their motivation. Employ various instructional strategies, possess good communication skills, and inspire the students to be positive about their potential. So, quite understandably, teachers' effectiveness can be determined through factors such as student motivation, creativity, persistence knowledge, applicability, and global competency. Needless to say, it is important to enhance these factors to establish student achievement. Apart from the efforts of the teacher, it is ultimately depends on student involvement too, as nicely put up by Weber, Krillo, and Am. They said that student involvement is a key factor that leads to success of teaching, but students' involvement and effort can only be achieved when teachers would create engaging and dynamic interactions in classroom. It also pointed out and also found that through various studies that effective teachers have a good sense of pride because they create positive student interaction in and out of the classroom. Give prompt feedback and encourage team spirit among students. Students which are encouraged by teachers to visit them during office hours, to clarify doubts and have further interaction, have been observed to display authentic academic interest and displayed stronger positive outcomes in class. Hence, as an effective teacher, it is very crucial to create a stimulating and engaging classroom experience for student achievement and success. Most recent researches have found that in order to be an effective teacher, the teacher must be well versed and prepared in his or her subject matter, display high quality standards in his or her course content, and use differential instructions to deliver the lesson plan. It is important to assess teacher effectiveness so that it optimally utilizes better understanding, implementation strategies, and practices for effective teaching. Assessment of teacher performance is based on the understanding that teaching can be improved. Recent research has also stretched on the role of mental health on teachers' effectiveness. With the high demands and challenges that accompany the life of a teacher, it is crucial to consider their mental health as a prominent factor in teaching effectiveness. Due to emerging demands, teachers are confronted with multiple role conflicts that are highly competitive. So, for effective teaching practices, mental health of the teachers must also be taken into consideration for better assessment and their situation. The incidence of stress, workload, and burnt out is observed in almost all learning situations. Teachers are convulsed with strain, frustration, and stress, and this in turn disrupts their effectiveness. This further has a negative impact on the success of students' academic work. Of course, juggling through multiple roles in a single day is not an easy task. In a bid to study this, academician Chris Chiarocco in 87 reviewed stress and burnout in teachers across different countries and found that stress in teaching has become quite widespread. Their stress has become similar to some high stress occupations such as air traffic control and general practitioners. Many of the teachers exhibit stress inducing traits along the line of work that has eventually negative consequences on their mental health. Research from the United Kingdom, China and Australia indicate the academia is specifically vulnerable to high level of occupational stress. This is partly due to the high complex nature of work, distortion of roles, juggling between both teaching functions as well as miscellaneous administrative work. We know that professors are not interested in administrative works anymore. In a study conducted at a private institute in Hyderabad by Liaquat Ali and his team, perhaps in 2017, it was found that the main causes for stress among faculty members are job satisfaction, where poor relations with colleagues, lack of proper and regular rest, long working hours, lack of wage employment, lack of communication and limited access to training. The impact of this is highly significant because not only affects the academic staff, but also their learners. A similar study which looked at occupational stress in a research university in Malaysia by Noor Hasim Ismail and Arma Noor in 2016 showed that engaging in research publications, consultation and administrative work had a definite association with the prevalence of such stress. Even the World Health Organization acknowledges occupational stress as a major public health issue. The diverse aspects of the job as a teacher may turn the rewarding task of being a teacher into a challenging and mentally exhaustive responsibility. The job requires physical, cognitive and emotional effort on the part of the teachers, and not getting through the time to recover from those demands may turn into workload stress and pressure. Some teachers have even reported that their anxiety is due to the overlap of both personal and professional commitments. According to research published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology, there can also be a significant overlap between burnout and depression. Teachers can display symptoms such as loss of interest in other activities, mood swings and fatigue. Also, as per an intriguing article published in The Guardian some time back, the key contributing factors to the alarming state of mental health in academia are lack of support, isolation and unreasonable demands made by the management. The Guardian survey, which specifically targeted academics with mental illness, reported that 62% of the academics in the United Kingdom feel their illness is directly as a result of their university job. This level of stress has profound impact on both their mental and physical health. As rightly put out by researcher Suzanne Smith Nash, it can also financially impact educational institutions in billions of dollars each year owing to teachers' attrition, poor job performance and frequent absences. Teachers who are stressed and burnout are also more likely to lash out at students, which can have devastating effects on the students both emotionally and academically. Teachers' experience of stress can also result from their perception of demands, which is coupled with their inability to meet those demands. Some teachers express that they feel exhausted or they feel that their work has little impact on their students. The mounting evidence of ill mental health among the teachers and the overall academic staff has led to the development of a large number of instruments to measure the severity of their stress. But it is more important to determine mechanisms that can help ameliorate the negative effects of strain and restore the fullest potential of a teacher. There can be a number of approaches to the successful management of stress among teachers. It may be achieved by the changing the work environment and by teaching effective coping skills. A number of studies have looked into the actions that teachers take in order to cope with stress. These actions can be expressing their feelings and seeking support, taking considered actions and thinking of other things other than teaching. Studies have also surveyed the effectiveness of in-house course for teachers to enable them to deal more effectively with stress. Effective coping should address both improving teachers' professional skills and competencies as well as developing psychological techniques to reduce the experience of stress. Three researchers, the famous one, Muller, Goro and Fiala in 2011 suggested taking preventive measures at the workplace to help eliminate employee stress by providing them with guidance and support will help a lot. For instance, effective teacher outreach programs can also be conducted to discuss problems and issues so that both teacher and student achievement grows in such environment. I would like to summarize that promoting a more social and collaborative environment can also help facilitate a culture of being valued and promote a sense of purpose and meaning in the occupation, which seems to get lost during the period of stress and burnout. As a result, teachers will feel more fulfilled. This will further promote exchange of new ideas, teacher empowerment and teacher satisfaction. Thank you very much.